It's the London Lowdown.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the London Lowdown podcast. I'm joined today by podcast regular Chrissy Gearon, who's an Arsenal fan, and we are welcoming Steve Hogan onto the podcast for the first time. I'm sure Steve is going to become a podcast regular on the show as well, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of him. How are you feeling this evening, guys?
Good. As an Arsenal fan, it's tough to make any bit of a good week, you know.
Yeah. Tough at the minute. How are you, Steve?
Yeah,
all good.
Myself as well. As a West Ham fan,
the
season's been amazing so far, so I can't really complain. I'm not used to it, so
that's
what I really enjoy.
Yeah, I was just going to say that actually it's kind of unusual, I suppose. Like, obviously West Ham are a big club, but like to be kind of up this end of the table, I suppose it's not that often it happens like this time into the season. Like,
no, that's true, and it's the fact that I suppose that we haven't had that drop off yet that we usually have. Sometimes we start the season a little bit well, and then there's a massive decline, but there doesn't seem to be that. So
good
at the moment.
Yeah, and you managed to keep hold of Rice in the summer and some other good players as well. So it's looking good. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So like we're talking about there's no drop back yet. We're just going to go back to the weekend results. So obviously West Ham are keeping things up. Arsenal have, after a bit of a turnaround, it's gotten a bit bumpy again, Chrissy. I'll just go to you on that. What do you make of Arsenal's recent results?
Watching the Villa game on Saturday hurt a lot. I felt we done a lot of the simple things right and conceded a very, very sloppy goal early, and that's typical Arsenal in a way. It is, like, you know, conceding.
Yeah.
Mind us conceding, but conceding early into a sloppy goal. It's an odd one. I think that 7-game kind of unbeaten run they went on, it's not. I wouldn't be too hyped up about it itself. As you've seen in the league season so far, teams can put a run together of 3 or 4 games in a row and they're jumping up the table massively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, I'm happy with Odegaard coming in. I think Odegaard looks good.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like more game time, maybe.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with Odegaard being good. Like hopefully even Smith Rowe's been playing well enough for you, but hopefully Odegaard can even take some of the burden off him, like creativity wise, because you know yourself, he lacked that a lot from the start of the season till now, like until Smith Rowe started coming into the team.
Yeah, I think the biggest loss is Kieran Tierney at left back.
Yeah, definitely. Tierney's a great player.
Without Tierney, I just think the build-up play it's so slow paced. It's almost at pace for teams.
Yeah,
break us down, and we try to go on the attack. Without Tierney, everything is, you know, this nail pace kind of football, and that probably plays the team's hands. Like Cedric, I actually think Cedric's actually quite a decent player. Not an absolute world beater, but for the money, he's quite reliable.
Yeah.
But he's no Kieran Tierney, that kind of
way.
Yeah,
no, definitely. Yeah. No, Tierney's up there with the best left backs in England. Like,
you know, back in Tierney and put together another run maybe, but starts tough.
Kind of top 4 is definitely looking out of the equation now, to be honest, isn't it?
It is. Look,
yeah.
We kind of need teams like, it's not only us winning games, but we need the likes of West Ham to fall off, Tottenham to fall off, Chelsea to fall off.
Yeah.
And the way the league is going, everyone, I won't even say inconsistency, but it's hard to see any real team just go on a march of probably 7, 8, 9 wins in a row between our kind of clubs.
Yeah.
So I think top 4, it's probably out of the question. I'd be happy with a top 6 finish at this point.
Yeah. I suppose, like, looking at the teams ahead of you, I suppose they could be kind of worrying about, say, West Ham and Chelsea, and then you have Leicester and Liverpool there as well. But like, I wouldn't be worrying about Spurs at all. You know what their history is like, don't you? Like, but,
I was saying at the start of the season, like when we got over West Ham, and a lucky 2-1 win. West Ham kind of turned the afterburners on and went on a bit of a rampage. And point at the start of the season, that was a very good result for Arsenal. Didn't play great and got a lucky home win in many ways. Like West Ham now won't be a favourable game. Surely put West Ham a bit probably favourites going into a game like that going forward.
Yeah, this season anyway, maybe yeah.
You know, so
yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah,
every game. I know every game is a must-win game now, but top 4 race, I think if Arsenal want top 4 ambitions, I don't think they have to kind of go the rest of the season unbeaten. Whether it's a few draws, but one more loss and that will completely kill it off. And with other teams around us having games in hand as well, it really
it's a bit of a killer.
We'll have to wait and see, I suppose.
Yeah, no, definitely. Steve, in terms of West Ham, like you said, they're keeping it up, and it's somewhat surprising. Like, what do you think of the recent results?
The recent results have been good. I have to say now, I didn't actually see the Fulham game at the weekend. I only saw the highlights of it. But from what I kind of read and the post interviews and stuff with Moyes afterwards, obviously a lot of it was about the red card, unfortunately. Yeah. But the recent results have been, brilliant, amazing. It's completely shocked me. My brother's a West Ham fan as well, like huge West Ham fans, both have been since we were kids, and it's just can't get over it.
Yeah.
Because as I was saying before, we usually we can have obviously up and down seasons where we can be playing phenomenal one match, and then for 3 or 4 games, there's just nothing. The fight that was in the team in the previous played really well is just completely gone. It's almost like the players could only do it for one game, and a lot, I have to say, is credit to Moyes and the kind of fitness regime that he's brought in. The players look more up for it. They look more determined, a hell of a lot fitter. Because I remember when not Pellegrini, but when Bilic was first sacked, and Moyes came in and did his 6-month stint to save us from relegation. The very first thing that he said after he took over training session is they're not fit enough. They're definitely not fit enough. Training sessions, apparently the levels had dropped, so he's increased that. And you can see it clearly as well. But I mean, it's great to see at the moment. I don't expect us to. I know, like, obviously, I was hoping and praying at the weekend if we could beat Fulham, and if City beat Liverpool, which they did, that would propel us into the top 4, give us a kind of a little, couple of point cushion going into the next match. Didn't happen, but still, as I say, very, very happy with the results and everything and the way it's going. It's been pretty good. We finish, the way we've been playing, if we aim to finish top 6 and can achieve that, I'd be really, really happy. If we finish a little bit below that, at the same time, I wouldn't be unhappy, because I think Moyes is building something really good there at the moment. Yeah,
no, definitely. I think top 6 would be great, considering it's not even the quality of the teams, but the amount of teams that have quality in the league nowadays. Like, it's not like the top 4 years ago where like the top 4 are nearly winning most weeks. This year everyone's taking points off of each other, so like to finish top 6 would be a very, very good achievement for Moyes and West Ham, I think. I'd be buzzing with that. Just in terms of Chelsea's results now, obviously I'm over the moon. Like Chrissy was saying there, it's kind of tough, like a tough period being an Arsenal fan. That we went through that there a couple of weeks ago, just before Lampard was sacked. It was 6 or 7 games on the trot where it looked like we were just hopeless. Like there was no tactics, nothing, like, and it was horrible to watch. But I think we made the change just in time. Like, I know Abramovich is a very serious man, like, and if the results are not going Chelsea's way, he'll make that change straight away. A lot of clubs might not do that. I think if it was left a small bit longer, top 4 might be completely gone on us. But I think he made the change just in time, because obviously all Chelsea fans love Lampard and he's a legend at the club. But when he took over at the time, I said to myself, I would never let sentiment get in the way. Like, the club and the results come first. So it's kind of it wasn't even the results the last while that was annoying me. It was mostly just the performances, and it looked like the players weren't really playing for him. So I just wanted to change as soon as possible. And as you can see, Tuchel is making a big difference there. I know we've only played 4 small teams so far. Wolves got the draw there. Burnley, Spurs, and the game of the day, the 2-1 win against Sheffield United, like they're all bottom clubs. Like people might try and take away from the wins there, but I think it's been very solid. Like Sheffield United last week went and won at Old Trafford. Like they're not an easy team to beat. Like I thought it was a bit of a false position for them being bottom for most of the season. I'm kind of surprised they're still there after how well organised they are under Chris Wilder and how well they done last year. But yeah, if Tuchel can just keep plugging away and getting wins like that and like avoiding defeat in the big games, I think there's a very good chance we could get top four. And it's actually not at the expense of Liverpool. I don't think. I think they will finish in the top four. But I'm hoping maybe Leicester, when the Europa League games come into play and they're playing on Thursday, Sunday, and I just don't think they have the depth in the squad like last year when they got the few injuries. And I think they could drop off. But yeah, it's just all down to Chelsea plugging away, even when they're not playing well, to get wins in games. It's the only hope we have really. But I think we might sneak in there with a manager like him, because obviously the players we have, like the squad is unbelievable. Like it's one of the top squads in the league. I think it's arguably second best squad in the league, I think. And for Lampard not to be doing well, I just think he couldn't settle on his best 11. Never knew like what his best 11 was, and it kind of cost him in the end, all in the signings and stuff. But Tuchel seems to be getting it right so far. Seems to have a plan and well organised and tough to beat. So hopefully he can keep it up now and maybe get a run in the Champions League as well. So we were looking back at fixtures there and how the clubs are doing. Like obviously we're all hoping for as an Arsenal fan, Chrissy's hoping for a bit of a turnaround in the coming games, and me and Steve are probably hoping our clubs keep it up. We're just going to look ahead at the next fixtures for the clubs. Obviously, West Ham are playing tonight just after this podcast against Manchester United. Chelsea are in action in the FA Cup on Thursday against Barnsley, and unfortunately for Chrissy, Arsenal have been knocked out of the FA Cup. So their next fixture is in the league on Sunday. Obviously a tough game against Leeds United. It's going to be high intensity from them again, like you see in every game under Bielsa. I'm just going to go to Steve first, because obviously the match is tonight and it's a big game against Manchester United, who we all hate. So
yeah,
what are your thoughts ahead of the game, Steve?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I was just looking at the team. They've just announced the team in the last few minutes, and to be fair, it's gone with a fairly strong team. You've got Rice, Noble, and Suchek in the team,
Yeah.
so he's wary of the threat from United on the attack. United have gone with, I think, Rashford, Martial there as well. It would be nice to get a run in the cup. I mean, everybody loves a run in the cup, but at the same time, if we were to play well, I've always said this as a West Ham fan. It's something that kind of bugged me over the years, was that if the team played well and lost, I would have absolutely no problem with that, because it was shown fight, shown character. They were just beaten by the better team on the day,
Yeah.
So if something like that would happen this evening, that wouldn't bother me too much, because I think I'm just on such a high how well we're in the league that I'd be happy if we could keep the league position, fight for the league position as opposed to the cup. But at the same time, the cup would be an added bonus, Now the problem we have tonight is we're playing with no striker up front. Yarmolenko playing up front, and that was, I think, one of the disappointing things about the transfer window. Is we needed a striker.
Yeah.
And we didn't go and get one. Now, Moyes had said he was offered the money. The money was there for him to bring in a striker if he wanted. But what he said is that he didn't want someone that was just kind of a part-time, someone that was going to be there for a couple of months to kind of do a job.
Mm-hmm.
His whole thing, it's a long-term plan.
And
if he wanted to bring in, it was going to be someone that fitted the style he wanted to play, So that's the only, I suppose, bit of a worry I have about this season. But I mean, I'm hopeful.
Yeah. No, I've just looked at the lineups there, and that's the first thing I actually noticed was Yarmolenko's down like up top. I know he's not an out-and-out striker, but I didn't actually realise West Ham didn't really have an out-and-out striker now. Yeah, because before Haller moved to West Ham, I loved him at Frankfurt. Obviously, he played against them in the semi-final of the Europa League the year before and that, but Just didn't work out for him here, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he
No, it didn't work out for him. I think it was Moyes wanted, like, even in his conferences after games, like when he scored a goal, Moyes was like, yeah, it was great that he scored, and that's what we want to see from him, but I want to see him in the box more, getting tap-ins.
Yeah.
I want to see him hold up the ball, whether bring in players. That was something that he couldn't do, that Antonio does really, really well. And like, in fairness, we managed to kind of suffer on. I think when Antonio was out for the 4 weeks injured, I think we managed to only lose 2 of those games out of maybe 6. And we didn't score many goals, but we still managed. Whereas before, we would have just capitulated if we didn't have that up top. And like that, like Antonio is not even an out-and-out striker. That's Moyes is after converting him to that position, as well. And then after him, then we've only got the young Irish lad who's actually on the bench now to see Odebeko as our kind of out and out recognised striker more so than anything.
So Keane mentioned there in the live comments about Amad Diallo being on the bench. Steve, if he comes on tonight and if you leave him score, you don't know what you're going to like be starting. Can you imagine the United fans? Yeah.
I know exactly what I'm going to be starting, but it's typical. It's happened over the years. I think I'll never forget Fernando Torres when he signed for Chelsea, when he signed for E. He scored a goal in 15 odd games. Of course, the game against West Ham, he scores. So if it happens, that happens.
Yeah.
But like, I'm pretty sure that if he does come on and makes an appearance, Mark Noble is definitely going to let him know. He's gonna give him a welcome to the Premier League tackle. That's I'm sure.
No, it'll be, if he does score, it's going to be Bruno 2.0 social media. I think it's just going to be all over again. Just to touch on Jennifer's comment there in the live chat just from around United and West Ham. She asked you, Soucek and Cresswell have been amazing for West Ham this season. If you had to lose one of them, who would you choose and why?
Cresswell. And I only say Cresswell because he's 30. He's pushing his 30s. Soucek is still only 24. He's got a hell of a lot more years in him.
Yeah.
One thing that we have, I know he's out injured at the moment, Masuaku. Granted, he's not as good as Cresswell defensively, but he is very good going forward. Now, saying that, Cresswell has been our attacking player this season. I think I could potentially be wrong now, but I thought I read somewhere that he's created the most chances in the Premier League this season. Now,
I think I've seen that. I think I've seen that stat today somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, he's cleaning up on fantasy football.
He is.
Absolutely.
It is a really tough one, but me personally, I'd have to say Soucek, because if you think about it as well, my main reason for Soucek is the fact that without his goals, we definitely wouldn't be where we were, because he scored. He's popped up in the last minute and scored a lot of winner scores.
He has, to be fair. You noticed that a lot. No, he looks like a great player now, and thankfully he got that the red card rescinded there, so he can play tonight. Just looking forward to Thursday night now, Chelsea and Barnsley. Obviously, it's like a rerun of the Carabao Cup game. Chelsea won 6-0. That was where Havertz got his hat-trick and his first goals for Chelsea. But I suppose Thursday night might be kind of more of a trial run for some of the players under Tuchel that haven't replayed yet, and it might be a trial run for switching to 4 at the back. Obviously, he's been playing 3 at the back in the Premier League, and I think it's working perfectly, but he may not want to change that in the league, but he'll give it a go against Barnsley, I think, and see how the players react to it. If Havertz is back again, I'm all for him getting another hat-trick, and we can start putting more YouTube compilations up. Obviously, next best talent and Kai Havertz 2021 and that, we'll get it all started again, the propaganda, but I think it's mostly going to be kind of for players who haven't played too many minutes under Tuchel, and hopefully, I think we will get a win and go through to the next round, but hopefully some of the other kind of bigger clubs in this round could get pipped and knocked out. Obviously, United knocked out Liverpool in the last one, so that's Liverpool gone out of it. So obviously, a few of the bigger clubs still left in it. So if we can get a few of those knocked out and we can find our way through. There could be a solid FA Cup run there to be made. So obviously, Chrissy, for you, Arsenal have been knocked out. Like, obviously, it's not the end of the world, FA Cup, but looking ahead to Arsenal Leeds on Sunday, and even if you wanted to talk about the Arsenal and Southampton game, the one that you got knocked out in the cup in, if you want to just touch off that and talk about what you're expecting on Sunday against Leeds.
On Sunday, really, like, first and foremost, I expect a decent response.
Mm-hmm.
The game in the FA Cup, Southampton, was just speechless. Look, FA Cup is one, like Steve's touched on it a bit, where, you know, league is first and foremost in no matter what. You know, everyone wants league, and where you finish, you get a nice cup run. It's a nice little added bonus as well. The fact that we bet Newcastle in the FA Cup, went out to a fairly strong Southampton team, but the fact that it was a game against Southampton that it was there for the taking, and, you know, nothing ever came about with it, which makes it even more frustrating to know we went there 3 days later and you know, play them off St. Mary's.
Yeah, that actually surprised me, that second game.
That it doesn't surprise me myself, and William would probably say the same thing. As an Arsenal fan, you kind of say to yourself, in consistent basis, we're not as good as Chelsea's, the Liverpools, the Cities, Uniteds. But in a one-off game where, like, someone's job is under threat, that's going to be the Arsenal game of their lives in.
Yeah.
For weeks on end, and I was even saying to Keane before we beat in the league 3-1. Was, look, every week without fail, it was basically, look, the comeback has to start somewhere.
Yeah, I knew I had that feeling, like, before the game. That's why I kept my mouth closed.
I was the same thing. I was like, before work, when work before it was basically, friend was saying to me, look, I think Chelsea will just tear you asunder. I'm like, look, it's Arsenal. This is going to be the game where football is fast and everything just goes right on the night.
Yeah.
And it was one of those where it did, where everything went right. And look, going into Sunday, Leeds is an odd one. You know, with Leeds, you don't know what you're going to get, really. You know, you could get absolute master, or like they've done many times this season, their defense can just be like a piece of paper, just gets
maybe Arsenal's approach might suit, like, the way Leeds play. Like, it might give you a better chance. And, like, Leeds are going to be, they may be open at the back, maybe, and you know how they play.
I think it might play into Pepe and Saka's hands a lot. In terms of, I think Leeds will have a lot of the ball. Well, they'll play more passes than Arsenal. They'll be a bit more kind of keeping possession-based football. I think it'll kind of play into Arsenal's hands in terms of, like, I like Luke Ayling as a defender. Second, we've got rid of him a few years ago off the books. Thought he had potential. Didn't think it'd take him that long to get back to the league. But in terms of, like, defensive awareness, he's terms to read the play after the halfway line is quite sceptical at times.
Yeah. Watching him last night, actually, against Crystal Palace, I remember Batshuayi came on there. Obviously, I was keeping an eye on Batshuayi, and in the space of, like, the first kind of 60 seconds, ball was over the corner flag there, and Ayling was running out on him. He just switched off completely, left Batshuayi go straight past him. We all know Batshuayi isn't the best dribbler of a ball, like, and it was way too easy. Like, and I never noticed that about Ayling before. Obviously, you would have seen him playing with Arsenal, and that you knew about it, like, but yeah.
This is it. Like, he reminds me of a kind of like a poor man's Trent kind of way.
Yeah.
You know, attacking wise, very good, but right back, you're there to defend. You know, almost, and it's there for the it's there for the taking. But at the same time, it's Arsenal. You know, I want to say, you know, comfortable 2-0 home win, but, you know, it could very well be easily, you know, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And 2-0 down after half an hour.
Raging, like, absolutely raging.
Guys of it.
Yeah, no, there's nothing worse. At least it's a Sunday, and at least it's the end of the weekend. If it's a Friday night, and I bet your whole weekend's gone. Like,
that'll be the best Valentine's present now for a nice.
Oh yeah.
We'll win it.
I know it'd be absolutely hilarious. Yeah, and it'd be really good to get you a win on Sunday. But considering the last two results, like, and obviously there was the debate about Louise's red card, same as Sussex and that, like, but yeah, it was. I'd say that was a very frustrating game for you, Chris. It was the Wolves game, like.
I was watching that in work, and the amount of times I've literally put customers on hold or mute, he's screaming at it was just.
Considering he got the first goal and everything, kind of like I thought when he got the first one, I thought you might have him, like, but yeah,
it was after 40 seconds when post, and then another couple of seconds later, I was like, we have Wolves here, and 1-0 up. I was thinking, look, get a second before half time, and worst possible time then to give away a penalty. Not seeing much the red card, but
yeah.
Of half time, yourself and Stephen know, can't, especially in the Premier League, if you're going to concede a goal, do not concede it right on the stroke of half time.
Yeah, for the team talks.
The advantage straight away going into the second half.
Yeah.
The red card
no.
made it worse.
Yeah. Trust the agent sent from Chelsea to give it away. David Luiz, like, yeah. And then that's what I said to William in the chat the other night. If you ever want William to do the same, just give me a call. I said I'll organise it. Like, I said if you come close to us again in the league, William will do it. He has to, like, yeah. Because you're breathing down our necks at that stage, right behind us, like.
The man is such like, and I've been one talking about him. He's been very good under Arteta.
Yeah.
And then, like, even before the game, I was saying to one of the lads in work, like, especially after the United game, when the talk of, oh, what will Luiz do? And there's like this two thing with Luiz, against United. He's either going to have an absolute disaster class, or he's going to get man of the match, and he got man of the match.
Yeah.
And going into the game against Wolves is going to be a case of he's been so kind of consistent under Arteta. The mess up is coming, and it's coming fairly fast.
Yeah. We're just talking about the FA Cup there about Arsenal being gone. Keane left a comment there saying there's another small club from London, North London, still in it.
Are Charlton still in it?
I like the way. Yeah, I like the way he put in another. I think he's having a little dig at you there, Chrissy. Yeah, no, he left that in the live comments, but yeah, just Jennifer, Bryant left in saying the Wolves game was a nightmare. Could have won it, but for the ref. Like, to an extent, you can see where it's come from. Obviously, penalty was your own doing, but like, the red card was a bit soft. If that hadn't happened, maybe it could have been a different outcome, like, in the game. Do you think so, Chrissy?
It's quite difficult. Like,
yeah,
yes, it might have been. I don't like always agree with some Arsenal fans online that the red card definitely changed the game. Even at 10 men, Wolves were a much better team in the second half, and Leno's red card then was kind of icing on the cake kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I know a few people who've bad-mouthed Leno, saying, oh, he should have done better with Moutinho's goal and this stuff. It's like, no, Moutinho's goal is just work right, and the red card, that's one of those. Look, if you don't do that, you take Traore down, and you probably get a red card anyway. But
yeah,
we didn't really create anything in the second half. There was no real urgency. I think it was just at 10 men, it was more of a caution kind of thing. We'll take, and kind of backfired fairly quickly.
Yeah. No, completely. Will just said there as well. William said that Leeds playing in London this season, they've 3 games, 3 losses, conceded 10 goals and then scored 2. You hoping that's a good omen?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Now, Sean, you said it now, like that they're going to keep a clean sheet now on Sunday and win like 3-0. This is the thing with Arsenal. Was at one point, Aston Villa only scored, up until after they beat Liverpool 7-2, they've only scored more than 2 goals in one game, and that came against Arsenal 3-0 at the Emirates.
Yeah.
We're definitely playing to form against. Look, the talk of, I suppose, going into the game is going to be probably Bamford got his 100th Premier League goal last night. He'll probably fancy in the back four.
Yeah.
With Rafinha in the team, I think Rafinha is a worldly of a player.
Oh, he's brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
He will cause some trouble, especially the veteran. Oh,
Yeah.
hopefully that Omen stays good, and
Yeah.
hopefully
No, like you said, my opinion on it is I think that Leeds could play into Arsenal's hands. The only kind of positives I see on your side, I think that could happen. But yeah, should be a good game anyway, because Leeds, whatever Leeds are involved in, is always a good game. Play very nice football.
watch.
Yeah. So I'm just going to want to talk about what's kind of a big topic lately with like the likes of Foden and that coming through, is some of the English talent coming through the clubs in England. Obviously there's some great players coming through. You have like your, obviously in West Ham side, you have Declan Rice coming through, and then you have your Mounts, your Hudson-Odois, you have your Sakas coming with Arsenal and that. Like, just in terms of your club, Steve, what's your opinion on the English players coming through? So Rice, and is there any other players that you think you could tip to the viewers here who should make a good career for himself?
It's kind of hard to know because the West Ham Academy, like, I mean, the nickname for West Ham is the Academy of Football. And to be fair, we haven't been the Academy of Football for a long, long time. You know, the Rio Ferdinand, Frank Lampard kind of generation, you're talking 20 years ago, you know, even more.
Yeah.
And, you know, the odd time we do get a gem, you know, I mean, there's all the big hype against Reece Oxford, you know, 5-6 years ago, made his senior debut against Arsenal, and we beat you 2-1 at home in Billich's first game, and he played and hold in midfield.
He got man of the match. Well, didn't he?
Was brilliant. He had Ozil in his pocket. Got man of the match, as well. Yeah. He had a fantastic game. And then he played 1 or 2 games, and then all of a sudden just kind of dropped off. You know, that was kind of it. He's gone. I think he's off playing in, is it Augsburg or somewhere like that now over in Germany, but he's not even getting any games there as well. So, as I look, hands down, Declan Rice has to be one of the best things that's come out of the academy in a long time.
He's amazing.
And he kind of, he's brilliant. And do you know what it was? Is he was coming at the same time as Reece Oxford. You know, they were the same age and they were coming through the academy together, but I think there was just so much hype for Reece Oxford that Rice under there, and he was just kind of able to ply his trade without having anyone talking him up big. Obviously, there was people on forums and everything like that saying, you know, he has the potential to be a great player, but I don't think anybody kind of looking at him, even Julian Dix, when he was managing the under-23s and the development squad a few years back, didn't recognise his potential until, you know, Slaven Bilic eventually first called him up and he got his chance. But at the moment, there's 2 that are kind of making waves. It's the young Irish fella, I can never even pronounce his name, Adebeko, and the young Irish forward. He came on in the League Cup, was it the FA Cup? The FA Cup made his debut, and that, you know, he's been on the bench once or twice, hasn't made a Premier League appearance, or I don't think he's made a cup appearance since then. But he's there. There's a lot of hype around him at the club. I think we got him from United. I think it was he left, and then the other one is Jamal Baptiste, a young defender. He's been kind of put again the Reece Oxford bracket, but there's not as much. They're saying he has the potential there, but like you guys know yourselves, with youth team players, they have to be given time, have to be given a chance. Like, considering how young some of them are, like look at Callum Hudson-Odoi. You know, I mean, he's a great, fantastic player, but he's still very young and he's still got to learn as well. You know, in the game, but he's worked for him. So that's kind of what I have really on it at the moment, to be honest.
On West Ham, yeah. No, obviously Declan Rice there is the crown jewel, and I love him at Chelsea. I know he was one that got away on Chelsea. He was originally in Chelsea academy until he was 14, I think, and they let him go. But I think he's exactly what we're missing as well right now. We just don't have like that defensive mid that can hold. Like, he's smart enough to hold his position. He's well able to play the ball. He's good on the ball, and that. Like, obviously Kante is fantastic, can do a lot of defensive work, but like sometimes he isn't intelligent enough to hold that position. He can kind of rampage forward, and it's what he's best at, is pressing, the counter press. Like, he should suit Tuchel's system fairly well, but he's not in the same mold as Declan Rice, and I love him at the club. But obviously with Lampard gone out of talks is that the interest in Rice is cool now. So, and obviously, if he does ever leave West Ham, you're going to get a big sum from him.
Yeah, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, as I say, with Moyes building the team playing so well at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that we can continue. He'll stay and as they say, we're like, he's got a contract with us until 2024 with the option of a year extension. We have the option to extend it by a year as well. So we're under no obligation to sell. He's come out and said on numerous occasions when he's been linked with numerous clubs that, very enjoying football. And I think what's really helped him as well is having Mark Noble there, one-man club. Not the whole one-man club thing, but like the experience that Noble has. He reminds me very much of Noble. His ability is much better. Noble was like that when he was his Declan Rice's age. For such a young player, he was well able to kind of, as you say, hold that position. He knew when to go forward, go sideways, when to go back. He's very decisive.
Yeah, no, 100%. Keane actually left a little comment in there. He thinks that Rice, he reminds him of a younger kind of Matic when he came back to Chelsea mostly, because he was over in Portugal. He done very well over there, but when he came back to Chelsea first, kind of just the mold of that, like he's very intelligent defensively in that. He's able to play the ball, and I think Rice has a small bit more about him pace wise in that. But like I can see where Keane has come from with the comparison, like.
But, 100%, and he's only saying that because he wants him at United as well. So.
Yeah, he does indeed. Like, I think if he is going to go anywhere eventually, I don't know if he's going to leave in the near future because, like you said, West Ham are doing very well and there's no obligation to sell there. But I think if he does eventually leave now, it's going to be to United. I think Chelsea will be completely out of the equation now.
I was going to say, it's very hard to picture where he could end up.
Yeah. I think Liverpool were linked there like a week ago as well. Yeah, Liverpool were linked as well.
That's right, yeah, just before at the end of the transfer window.
Yeah. Right, so when we're covering the West Ham youngsters there, Chrissy, we're just going to go on to the youngsters Arsenal have. Now, obviously, the topic there ran about the English youngsters first. You have like Smith Rowe, and obviously Saka has a lot of potential. You have your Willock, who's gone out on loan, who scored for Newcastle today. What's your opinion on the English youngsters at the club, and is there any other youngsters that Arsenal that you tip to the viewers to go on to big things?
There's one. I know everyone looks at Saka, Smith Rowe. One guy, I think his name is Adam Smith. I think it is 18 years of age. Arteta drafted him into the first team squad training itself. Comparisons wise, I know watching clips on YouTube and that can make a player look a worldly of a player. In terms of inside the club and why he's compared to, it's very much like a kind of hybrid Fabregas kind of a guy who can killer pass and he can dribble the ball out of dangerous positions. He looks good, a bit injury prone, however, at such an early age itself. Anytime he's trained consistently with the first team squad, it's normally broken down with a week or two out injured following it itself. Like to yourself, you probably watch some clips of your team's training on YouTube, their app or whatever, and any clip I watched him, he looks a decent baller. But I wouldn't go as far as to say, like, the United fans who've tipped Greenwood to be the next Ronaldo already, or these kind of lads.
Yeah.
But he looks but at the minute, I suppose if you're anyone at Arsenal and you can pass the football, you're in with a shout at the minute, like.
With the way things are going.
In terms of the youngsters, like, I like seeing the younger lads play. It's like growing up with Arsenal, like kind of probably towards the middle of Wenger's reign kind of period. You would see in the likes of the young teams going out with, Fabregas when he was a bit young, breaking into the team, and FA Cup and Carabao Cup games or Carling Cup games at the time with young fellas. Yeah, it's nice seeing that style of play back with young fellas, but hoping if they can keep it up, like England's England team for the future looks a worldly of a team, to be fair, at the minute.
Yeah, no, it does. It looks like it's going to be great, and obviously, as Keane said there, Foden, he's the crown jewel of the English squad. Really, well, at the moment when you're looking at it, you think he's going to be tops. Like, I don't think there's anyone to top him.
He could be probably the best player in the world in 5 or 6 years' time.
Yeah, Justin, he's definitely going to contend for a Ballon d'Or in that, I think, anyway. Over a couple of seasons, yeah. If
he can keep his feet kind of grounded to that point,
yeah.
He had was it out on ice with Greenwood, was it?
Yeah.
But things like that, he doesn't need to get involved in any of that, because the minute any bit of the media comes kind of in, form goes out the window a small bit.
Yeah.
If he can keep grounded, football and world could open up for him, and
yeah, definitely, definitely. Just in terms of Chelsea, I was waiting for that to come. Keane sent in Greenwood better than Saka.
I'll give it to him for now.
Were you going to say something there, Steve?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, I just had to get caught up there with Keane's Green. I was waiting for that to come in. It's obviously a hot discussion now at the moment between everyone, but just in terms of Chelsea, obviously we all know they've had a long period at the club where there's no players coming through the youth team. Like, they've obviously had fantastic teams come over the years, and like no one was ever making it to the first team. Like, the model was loaning the players out, and there's mostly kind of profit in that, or like you see players leaving and making it at other places. But like, I think this is the first time, and fair play to Lampard. I know we had the transfer ban, but he still had experienced players in that squad that he could have played, and he brought through a lot of the young players, gave them all their chance. And I think it's the first time probably the first time ever where there's so many players that are breaking into the first team of Chelsea through the youth team. I know we had John Terry and like the Dennis Wises and that before, but this is a solid group of players, and like, I think this could be Chelsea's like class of '92, if you get me. Like, it's a solid backbone to the team there, and hopefully, like, the way I look at it is kind of like they're all Cobham boys. They're from Chelsea. Even if they get to that level where they're going to be world beaters, like they may not want to like leave the club. But say if you brought in a youngster from Madrid or Barca and they obviously reach their potential in a couple of years, they always want to go back there. I feel like Chelsea could hold on to these boys for a long time. Obviously, you have your English players that are coming through who are going to add a lot to the English squad. Like, you have your Reece James, Mason Mounts, Hudson-Odoi, Tomori. They're all great players. I think out of them all, the highest ceiling is Hudson-Odoi. I think the sky is the limit for him. Like, I think he, out of all the English youngsters, like, there's probably a bit of an argument for this. So I think he has the potential to be the closest to Foden when all of them peak. I think, like, obviously the position they play in is going to get a lot more praise than what like it's Tomori is going to get, or like even like Saka is a fantastic player, but he's so versatile that like he'll be doing jobs for Arsenal over the years, and that he mightn't get as like noticed as like a winger like Hudson-Odoi will get noticed. Like, but yeah, I think Hudson-Odoi is the highest ceiling, and I think the best out of all the youngsters really is Reece James. I think he's absolutely fantastic. Like, he's an animal, and I think maybe in the summer, if things keep going the way it's going, he may pip Alexander-Arnold to a starting spot in that England team. If Alexander-Arnold keeps going the way he goes, I know he's a big name and he's gotten a lot of praise in the past. Yeah, he is a fantastic player, Trent, but obviously he's a liability defensively. The only way I think he might start, if things keep going the way it's going, is if England stick with the back three and have the wing backs where he's not trusted to do as much defending as he has to, like, or as he would at right back. In terms of younger players at the club breaking through that I tip for big things, there's obviously a great Chelsea team coming through there again. Got beaten in the FA Cup Youth Cup final by City. They beat United in the semi-final 1-0, and then the under-23s beat United 6-1, and they had all their young players playing, like Hannibal and them. But like Livramento would be one of the players from the youth team now that I tip for great things. He's like a right back, same position as Reece James, but he's better going forward, like kind of more of a wing back. He's brilliant. But the one player, he's fantastic. His dad is from Thailand, but he's an English nationality, is Gio Sinsop-Bell. So he's a striker. Obviously he only turned 17, signed his first professional contract at the start of January, but he already has 15 goals in 11 games. He he played one Youth Cup game. He scored 4 and 1, and he's played under 23, so it's 6 years above his senior, and he has 3 goals already in that as well. Absolutely fantastic player, but it's kind of like it's Greenwood numbers that he's putting up. Like when Greenwood is in the youth level, and obviously Greenwood is tops there. So I think Sinsel Bell can become very good and become a very good player for the club. If he's given the chance, which I think he will, because at the moment, like the striker position at Chelsea is still kind of it's up for grabs unless they splash out in the summer and bring in a big target. So yeah, they'd be my predictions now for like the young players at Chelsea and who's coming through. There's actually been a few live comments coming through there that I'm gonna go through now. So Jennifer Bryan thinks that Saka can play in any position. No way is Greenwood better than Chrissy. What's your opinion on the Saka Greenwood one?
Do you know what? People, it's like putting your eggs in one basket kind of thing. Saka is probably a better versatile player than him, but Greenwood definitely has more potential in him. It's not like I think Greenwood could go on and be a winger that will. He could winger striker that will score 15 to 20 goals, notch in a few assists. I think Saka will ever hit that heights. I think Saka would be fairly happy with kind of average between 5 to 10 goals and 5 to 10 assists.
Yeah.
But in terms of like versatility, Saka's a much better player. He's played left, right back, right wing. He's getting all the chance. He's kind of getting all the chances Maitland-Niles never got at Arsenal. In terms of playing, he's not playing his actual position. But yeah, Saka is a better versatile player for different range of positions. But Greenwood definitely has a lot of potential. But look, you've seen some United fans as well. They're quick to jump down his throat a bit when things don't go well as well for him. And out come the excuses. He's only young, but no one ever makes these comparisons for someone like Hudson-Odoi or anyone like that. It only seems to be United fans for United's own players.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. Like I think Greenwood has all the talent in the world, but it's whether he's going to apply it or not now is the thing. Do you think Saka will stay with Arsenal long term?
I don't think so. I think if he continues the direction he's going now, we might get 2-3 years out of him. Because it's like that thing with Bellerin, being linked with the likes of Barcelona over again. You mentioned that a while ago, if Chelsea brought in some young defender for Madrid or whoever it may be, they want to go back there itself. And with this kind of way football is going at the minute, where ideally in the Premier League they want to keep all the English talent in England, but with other leagues trying to adapt more, you probably see a lot more English players going abroad now. You had Calvert-Lewin and Smith-Rowe originally went out to the Bundesliga to get more experience at points. Itself, it'll become a bit more of a thing there, and I think Saka could be off in 2 or 3 years, which would be a absolute disaster. But at the same time, that's down to the club, to go in the right direction and give him a reason to stay at the club rather than this. The last thing we want is an Ozil scenario or a Ramsey scenario where we'll kind of hold you hostage for the time being and then we'll pull the plug. But I hope Saka stay. Like I'd like to see him stay. Possibly, I think he could be captain at Arsenal at some point down the line. And just whether or not who's in charge of Arsenal and the direction the club is in by that period. But hopefully anyway.
No, William touched on there saying that Saka has more assists than Foden this year, despite playing with a worse team and less players and starting at right wing back. Obviously Saka's a good player, but look, I'm not comparing him to Foden at all. I'm not having it.
Stats is one, especially for assists. It's all well and good getting assists against Southampton and 2 or 3-0. Do what's Phil Foden done against Liverpool in the big games, and that's when they really matter. End of the day,
No, definitely. And like I know City have a very, very good squad. Like, but from kind of reading like a lot of stuff about City there last while, kind of Foden has played a big part in where they are like this year.
Chelsea, I thought he was.
He's unbelievable. Like, and even I know what in this season, but last year he played against Liverpool again, tore him asunder when they beat Liverpool the week after Liverpool beat us. Like, he was unbelievable again. He was unplayable. Like, yeah. Keane actually also
Even
touched on.
said himself, like,
yeah, no, he's a fantastic player. Foden is like, but he's easily the best young player in the league.
yeah,
Maybe after Kai Havertz, but
yeah.
but yeah, Keane touched on there that Wan-Bissaka has more assists than Trent in 2021. That's shocking because I think Bissaka is terrible going forward. Like, and I know it's like a lot of people probably think it's stereotypical because everyone online says that people just stick with it. Like, but just watching him, like, he's just so unsure on the ball and that. Very good defensively, obviously, but like you see it in the chat a lot now. Shane, big United fan, he gets very frustrated with Wan-Bissaka playing there. He thinks like the modern day fullback should be able to go forward and do a job going forward as well as defensively. But and then Amy touched on
kind of going back to Gary Neville there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah.
Neville was, Neville wasn't great going forward either himself, but he was good defensively. So.
Yeah, he'd always put in a good shift and give you a good game. Like, and then finally, Amy just touched on saying McTominay is the same amount of goals as Timo. I'll give you a good one. Like, obviously McTominay is a midfielder, box to box, but Kurt Zuma, who was a centre half, not even a midfielder, he's the same amount of goals as Anthony Martial, your ice cold striker. So it goes both ways. Like, it goes both ways. Like, 50 million down the drain. Did you know they had a Ballon d'Or clause in Martial's contract? If he ever won the Ballon d'Or, they'd have to pay Monaco money. Like, United robbed him. Absolutely robbed him. They knew, given that, like, this fella's not getting any fucking Ballon d'Or. Yeah, it's shocking. Like, yeah. Going from the youngsters now, we'll just go on about a topic now. It's a very big topic this week. Obviously, it's affected Steve and West Ham a lot. It's just the Mike Dean and the Soucek situation, and even before that, the other sending off that got rescinded. Steve, I'll go to you first, obviously, because it's touching off West Ham, but what's your opinion on the whole situation and obviously about Mike Dean's safety?
Yeah, no, well, I mean, look, everybody knows, everybody who saw it, as I say, I didn't see the match. I only saw the incident after it happened, was watching the highlights. What I think the thing is we kind of touched on it in the chat as well, was the referees, they've no accountability. Everybody knows it was the wrong decision. But the problem that we have is we've no accountability. They don't hear from the referees, So, like, the lads had been sending in the video about how the VAR works over in the Australian League, in the A League, and how the referees are mic'd up here in the rugby, and you can hear the conversation between the video assistant referee and the referee on the pitch. You can hear why they've come to their conclusion, why they believe that that's a red card. Now, look, granted, we might not agree with it, with their reasoning to it, because letter of the law and everything like that, going back to the 2 red cards for Luis and Bednarak during the week. But, like, I mean, for Mike Dean to be originally, as Jamie Carragher pointed out, he was looking at it. He saw the incident happen. He blew his whistle. He went over, he had a word with the lads. He was walking back towards, where the free kick was going to be taken. And then all of a sudden he's, hang on a second, I've got something in my ear. So he's got Lee Mason in his ear saying, hang on, I think you need to go and have a look at this. But the fact that he had to watch it 20 different times, that's what really pisses me off. Watched it 20 times. Multiple angles, and still he thought it was a red card. Like, I just don't know. I can't fathom how he's come to the conclusion. Now, look, thankfully, the red card was rescinded, and Soucek's playing tonight, which is great. But the death threats, that's absolutely ridiculous. Like, that's just like, as like Thomas Soucek came out and he said it today. He was like, the safety of Mike Dean and everything like that and his family. That's the most important thing. And people with social media platforms, the ability to referees, players, and everything like that. We've seen it with the racism arguments and everything like that. It's just really, really hard to control it and to stop it. and it's terrible to see, especially if it's coming from West Ham fans. Like, as much as I was fucking blinded and giving out about Mike Dean, I'm not going to send him a message to him, you've ruined that. Seemingly it wasn't West Ham fans as well. There was threats from Southampton fans, and just like fans of football, I think in general, dismayed the whole thing. But I personally think there just needs to be more clarity between what the VAR officials and the referees on the pitch lines, when the conversations that they're having, like, even if it was to just after a game release a brief statement, to say, look, this incident happened in such and such minute, this is why it's happened, rather than Dermot Gallagher having to do it on Referee Watch on Sky Sports News, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's when we're touching on the group chat the other day. It's exactly what you said there that I was thinking as well. It's just the clarity in that, and like some transparency, like we've seen with that Australian game now. Like, even if it wasn't at that, like you said, the report after the game, and like just so that we have some transparency there, and we know what they're thinking, like what made them make them decisions. Like, but yeah, some of them are just baffling. Like, cause I remember seeing them, and like you said, wasn't even my club, but I was giving out again. I was raging that, but as soon as I seen the death threats and that, it's just completely over the top. And then like it's hard. It's like you said, it's hard to stop the death threats. Now, I think the only kind of solution, and it's been shown around a lot, is for the racism is like the social media accounts. You need a form of ID and everything. Like if you're setting up a betting account now, if you want to be able to withdraw money, you have to give them like your proof of address and like a photo of your driving license or something. Like even if it's just done the same as that, people might think twice about like the racial abuse they're putting online, because they're just complete scum, like absolute scum. And like until something like that is brought in, they're going to keep doing it, and most of them are going to get away with it. I know someone was arrested the other day for like the Chelsea related racism, like, but like it's going to keep occurring unless something is done about it. And I've seen like a lot of these social media companies now, they're looking at getting big fines if they don't try and sort it at least. Like big fines. But yeah, no, I completely agree with your take. Just on the transparency and the accountability from the ref, like just something else needs to be brought in to help with that. Like, and like even the ref, so like the fact that he looked at that 20 times and still thought it was red is baffling. Like, it's like surely they were.
Yeah, that's the part that.
Yeah, like surely they were trained before they're going out in the fields. Like, and Mike Dean, like the experience he has, like how could he think that was a red card? Like, it's just beyond me. Like,
that's, and the one thing that I can't really understand is like, so if that was is it Andrew Madley? I think, isn't he the new referee this season?
Yeah, Andrew, yeah.
Yeah. So like, if you think about it, if that was him, if he had done that now, 2 games in a row where a red card was given like that and both were rescinded, I guarantee you he wouldn't be refereeing in the Premier League for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Knocked back down to the Championship.
100%, yeah.
And I think that's another thing as well. Just because Mike Dean has the Premier League experience, he has so many games. Like, the man has over 100 Premier League red cards. I mean, it's not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good record to have.
Yeah.
But like, so that's another thing that they have to look at as well. Is not fines or anything like that, but like even just kind of giving them a break. Like, I mean, you don't know what the referee's going through at the time, what his thought process is, you know, with everything that's going on with COVID restrictions, everything like that. You know, he could be having potentially a bad time outside of, you know, his job, and he's potentially dragging it in or something.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, so Chrissy, just obviously we spoke earlier about the Wolves game and the red card there, and like obviously maybe the whole refereeing situation is kind of touching off Arsenal as well. William in the group chat is implying there could be an agenda against the. What's your opinion on the whole referee thing and like the Mike Dean situation?
The Mike Dean situation, look, it's not a red card, and I know he gets the criticism looking at it 20 times. But like Steve said, come on, to go online and to threaten him and his family, you know. Look, I'll throw my hands up, right? I remember Arsenal played Liverpool and at the Emirates Stadium. And remember the game where Andre Marriner awarded Arsenal with a penalty in injury time? They gave her a penalty in like the 97th minute and gave after that.
Yeah.
We're going straight to Facebook and a big massive rant on Andre Marner at the time. You know, I was 12. You know, thinking it was the big heart.
Yeah.
And you kind of realize that I was like, what difference is it? One fella from class not going to go anywhere, kind of thing. And I took it again, but look, I think Charlie Austin made a fair point on Twitter the other day where, you know, if you're going to, you know, give manager post match interviews, give them to the referees as well. Give them 5-10 minutes just to explain any major decision. You know, and that way then look, if Mike Keane go on the camera and say, well, I think Sidecheck's arm is in a dangerous place, well, fair enough, look, we'll take it on the chin and you'll move on. But this thing of the protection they have, you know, they can make a decision and that's it. Look, they know they're going to get criticised online for a lot of the time. But again, look, to go threaten someone's family over a red card, look, I know it's football at the end of the day, and coming from like a League of Ireland background myself, I watched League of Ireland referees all over the place getting bottles thrown at them from, you know, 20 meters away. You know, and outside the ground game, it's all chats and handshakes. You kind of leave it there, and then look, you support your football, fair enough. But this stuff of going on abusing people because they sent off a player, look, it happens. It's been happening for years now, and with VAR, I like I've said it before on Keane's podcast, I like the idea of VAR, but this thing of if you have to look at it, you know, even more than 5 or 6 times, you kind of have a fair idea straight away. This is going to be the wrong decision straight away. You know,
it's not clear and obvious if you have to look at it that many times. You know what I mean?
This thing with David Luiz's one for me, the first when you watch it in live, I think yes, it's a red card offence. It looks like he swings at him. Then you watch it from the other angles 2 or 3 times, and then you get angry. Like, where's the contact being made? Where's the attempt to play the ball or anything like that? We've always had examples with our own teams this season already, and look, between now and the end of the season, there's going to be much, much more. You know, but they have to kind of. I think they have to hold the referees accountable a bit more, and maybe start pulling them to the side at the end of it and say, well, look, this was your decision for a penalty or a red card or whatever. Can you give us your idea of what this is? No, 2 or 3 minutes, fair enough. At least then everyone has an idea of what you thought or what you think you saw and how you do it yourself. And if you deem it as malicious, fair enough, we'll take your word on it. If not, and you just go back and hide in the dressing room and that, you're going to get, I won't say abused, but you're going to be getting questioned about it a lot of the time. And look, it's sick at the same time as well. But
it's just too far. Like you're touching the situation there. It's way too far. And even Susek had to come out today and like tweet about it. You know, it's way too far, and the player involved has to come out and do that. Like, it's shocking. Like, so obviously the West Ham United game kicked off there. Did it kick off 7:30, Steve, or?
7:30, 7:30 kickoff. I can't get it on my computer because it's on BBC, of course. So I'm just watching the live vlog now at the moment. On the West Ham website.
Just to touch on our final points now. Like for the rest of the season, I asked Steve just the other day. Obviously, been a Spurs fan, and like how they were at the start of the year, and like obviously they've dropped off a small, but now got a win the other day, so they're back in the show for top 4. But I'll go to you first, Chrissy. Now, just what would your expectations, or what would you hope Arsenal achieve from now until the end of the season? Like,
between now and the end of the season, a bit like I said earlier, I think top 4 is. I don't think that's a possibility. I really don't. Focus on the league that's the main priority. I know Benfica coming up in the Europa League, but league wise, to put together a bit of run, and you don't know what could happen. It's like bring that form into the Europa League, and like that's the only way I think they get Champions League football is the Europa League. This season, probably next season. I don't think the squad is fully there yet. There's been improvements, yes, but still in terms of consistency, like if you were to, at the minute, for say, look, if you were to throw your hand up and say between Chelsea or Arsenal, who are more likely going to win 5 games in a row, you'd have to say Chelsea, or West Ham and Arsenal, you'd have to say West Ham. You know, there's just no element of consistency at all, I think, since Arteta's come in. You know, finished last season strong. Again, it was only 7-8 games. Started the season okay with 2 wins. Again, nothing major. And then decline again for a few weeks. Things start building back up again. And here comes the second decline. It's just, between now and the end, it's probably get a lot more game time into players like Martinelli, Odegaard. Try building it. Like Aubameyang would admit, up even his own standards, it's been quite poor. And you know, try probably rebuild. Or look, if we finish 6th, I'd be happy with that. And of course, if we finish 6th, the Spurs it'd even be even better again.
No, definitely.
You know, I remember 4 weeks ago they were title contenders.
Yeah. It's mad. It's mad, like how the season is changing. Because everyone's taking points off each other. Like, but like then again, are Spurs ever title challengers?
No.
Like I said, I touched this in the podcast before. Like we talked about a 2-horse race there a couple of years back when Leicester won the league between them and Spurs. But like, just don't think that was ever a race. Like Spurs were ahead at one point and
a 2-horse race and they finished third.
Yeah, exactly. That just says it all. Like, it says it all. Like that's what it's touch on.
That was the game that just.
Yeah, and we were terrible that year, and it was just we ended on a high just doing that, and it was so funny. Like, and like obviously Chelsea and Spurs were a big rivalry, but like from my side, like being from Ireland, that like you're not kind of over in England the whole time. Like I wouldn't see Spurs like as the team I hate the most. I do hate them now, but like I hate other teams more. But it just felt so good to knock them off it. Like.
I felt that when we won the FA Cup. It was like, I don't care if they finish ahead of us. We win the FA Cup and make them qualify for the Europa League.
yeah. After even 2013, Spurs were pushing for top 4 for a long while, like, and they got it, and we ended up winning the Champions League.
Oh, that was a glorious.
Same year, right, same thing happened, like. Yeah, I'd say they probably hate the sight of us this stage, like, but Steve, so obviously West Ham are off to a flyer and they're keeping consistency in that. What would you expect out of the club now, or what would you hope from now till the end of the year?
Finish above Spurs. It's not often we get the opportunity to do it, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, it's not even. Obviously, don't get me wrong, I would absolutely love if that happened. I don't expect it to happen, but if, as I was saying earlier, if they just keep the consistency levels that they've been showing, the results, you know, just to get rid of that drop of form that we usually have, the drop off that usually comes at some point in the season. If we can keep the level of consistency that we've been playing at, and as I say, if we can finish, look, wishful thinking, top 4 would be absolutely amazing. Completely out of the frame, I know, but like, as I say, top 6 playing well, I'd be happy with that. But again, if we were to finish 7th, 8th with that level of consistency there, I'd also be very happy with too. I think, as I said, it's a long-term project that Moyes is building. So
no, 100%. Like he said there, like out of the frame and that, like kind of like this year anything is possible. How everyone's beating each other, but like if I had to look at West Ham, like the only thing that I think may leave you down is like we were talking about earlier, is just the lack of an out and out like top striker. Like maybe, and then that might let you down a small bit when like some of the games where they're very tight. Like no, just that kind of the striker to nick that goal and get you out of it. Like, but no, I know you're a London rival and everything. But like I'd like to see you doing well. Like I know you're a London rival, but like are you going to say that, Chrissy?
I can tolerate West Ham a bit. My 2 uncles are West Ham fans as well, so
yeah. You can put up with it, like.
Oh, it's just anyone with Spurs.
I can tolerate it as well, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Look, Steve hasn't turned us off West Ham yet in the group chat. He hasn't turned us off yet, and no, I don't mind West Ham whatsoever. Like, and it's not even that like you don't win like a lot of like say league titles or cups. It's not that at all. But it's just say like any of the fans I've ever met aren't bad, and like I just find it grand. I can get on with most of them and have a football conversation with them. Like, seems grand. So I wouldn't mind West Ham doing well. Just on Chelsea, I touched on it last week with Steve Magrano. It's just kind of, when you asked me last week, it was kind of, I was thinking a push for top four, but that was before the Sheffield United game. Now getting the win there again, and that was probably the worst performance under Tuchel. It wasn't even that bad, but it's probably the worst we looked, and we still got the win at Bramall Lane. Like, so I'm kind of hoping we can get a top four finish. Obviously, the revenue from the Champions League, and I know a lot of Chelsea fans are going to sound spoiled after the money we spent last summer, but more investment into the team in the summer kind of make that push. Like this year, we expected to be kind of pushing Liverpool and City for the league, and it just hasn't happened. So maybe kind of build on, give Tuchel some money, like not to the extent of last season, but give him something to kind of try and finish out the squad that he sees and what kind of players he needs, and make a push for the title next year. So yeah, like a top four finish for that, and then a run in the Champions League and a run in the FA Cup. And I'm going to say win either, because obviously both of them are going to be tough to win. Don't think we'll win the Champions League, but if he can get past Atletico, I think is the toughest draw possible that we could have gotten. If he can get past them, like a good run is very possible. I'm not saying we're going to win it, but a good semi-final run is easily doable if you can get past them. Obviously, depending on who you draw in the quarters, because I don't think there's not one standout team apart from maybe Munich again. Like, are they as good as last year? No, but they're still that bit above everyone else in the competition. I think like your Juve's and PSG aren't as good this year. Obviously Liverpool have the injuries. City never really do it in Europe, like when they get to the later stages. But they might go a bit further this year. But like anything is possible now this year, I think, in it. So I was just saying to Steve, maybe bit of consistency to the end of the year, get top four, just something to build on. And obviously, I said with Tuchel's team, like the tactics being a lot more organised, just for the summer, when like if you're going for players, just for them to be able to look at it and say, right, he has that team set up very well. Like they're going to go places. Not just when Lampard was there, like it looked like there was no tactics and that, like, but just for the players to look and say, look, they're going to go places. They're a young team. They could win stuff in the future, hopefully next season. We'd like to go there. It's a good project. That's basically what I'd like from now until the end of the season under Tuchel, like, and build on the next year. Because I think we haven't met expectations this year yet. Obviously, like I said, we're going to kind of push for the title and push the other two teams, but just hasn't happened. So hopefully we can do that next season. Yeah, so we are touching off all the topics there tonight now, and I know Steve is probably itching to get on to see West Ham beat United. Fingers crossed, be another decent size gone at the FA Cup then, if that can happen. And wouldn't be too surprised, because like I said, West Ham are a very sticky team, tough to beat. It's never an easy game, so fingers crossed next time we're on this pod, West Ham will be through to the next round of the FA Cup. So to all the viewers, like, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Just wanted to touch on last night. The Devil's Advocate had a very good pod with Keane and the other guests in the pod. If you want to give that a watch, it'll be on YouTube, Facebook, the Twitter channels for the weekly Armchair Kickoff. Definitely recommend giving it a watch. And then tomorrow night, probably, I'd say it's one of the best shows I'm going to ever see on Weekly Armchair Kickoff. It's the women, all women's podcast. They are going to be interviewing Stephanie Roach tomorrow night. Make sure to keep up to date with the Weekly Armchair Kickoff page, and make sure to tune into that one. It's going to be a cracker, I think. And then just want to say thanks to Steve and Chrissy for coming on. And going to give you guys the opportunity now, if you want to shout out your Twitter handles or your Instagram handles, just for the viewers, and to get more football opinions off the boys and get to see how much they know about football. I'll go to you first, Steve, if you want to give a shout out there.
I have no idea what they are. I'm going to have to look them up and come back to you again on that. So maybe the next time I'll give you out those ones.
Yeah, no worries at all, lads. Any of the viewers there, Steve has them in front of him, but he just doesn't want you seeing any shit football opinions. He wants to leave that for the next time. Chrissy, do you wanna give a shout out there for your Twitter handles or your Instagram or?
Yeah, look, lads. At Chrissy Gearon is basic as it gets, and
yeah,
you'll just find me retweeting a lot of stuff about Paddy Power making jokes about other clubs apart from Arsenal, and I do get embroiled in a bit of arguments every now and again. If you want to.
Yeah, 100%, guys. Make sure to give Chrissy a follow, and then, as you can see under my image, you'll have my Twitter handle there. So it's just at SeanDowley12. If you want to give me a follow and see some dodgy opinions. Thanks to everyone in the live comments tonight for contributing to the show, making it a good show, and all the viewers. I hope you have a good night and enjoy the football. Thanks a million, guys.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, lads. Bye bye.